If you want to keep up to date with the latest channel activity, Destiny news, and dank memes, follow me on Twitter at Rickakis. What is up, guys? Rickakis here, and the Rise of Iron expansion has finally arrived, and with it came all new vendor inventory. So today we're going to be taking a look at the different vendors available in the tower and showcasing the absolute best of the best in terms of vendor weapons on sale right now. These are definitely going to be some of the first things you should consider when deciding where to spend your legendary marks. Now that does come with a little bit of a disclaimer. I do have my certain opinions and certain playstyle, and although I would definitely stand beside the choices I make in today's video, I would definitely urge all of you to go and check the vendor inventories for yourselves and determine if other roles more suit your playstyle. Additionally, the weapons showcased in today's video are going to have more of a PvP focus slant in terms of where they're good, simply because these weapons sell at 350 light, and in terms of PvE, that's pretty low. So buying one of these weapons just to then spend even more resources infusing it upwards may not be the best idea. You can certainly do that if you have resources to spare, but I wouldn't recommend it for everybody. So without further ado, let's get started here at the Crucible Quartermaster. Now the first weapon I would recommend taking a look at is the B29 Party Favor Pulse Rifle. This pulse rifle fits into the same damage archetype as the very well known Hawksaw. We all know how good that thing is in PvP. This thing, I'll say right off the bat, isn't as good as the absolute god roll Hawksaw being sold by this very same vendor before the Rise of Iron. However, if you missed out on that, this is actually a pretty good compromise. Rodeo will actually decrease the recoil a little bit, although it's not much. This is actually coupled with Small Bore, which increases the range, very good on this archetype of pulse rifle, and increases the stability by just a little bit as well, again increasing the accuracy. And the last perk, Glass Half Full, increasing the damage of the bottom half of the magazine, is perfectly acceptable as well. Again, it's a great compromise for those who missed out on that god roll Hawksaw. This will still serve you well. Moving on, the next weapon that I would definitely recommend taking a look at is the Palindrome hand cannon. This thing is an absolute monster. What you want in hand cannons is range. The range stat is very important. It's going to make you actually able to land your shots. And the Palindrome gives you range on a silver platter. This thing is absolutely insane. Firstly, it has incredible starting range, one of the best starting range stats of any hand cannons in Destiny. And if that wasn't enough, we then have Rifled Barrel, increasing the range even more. And then we have freaking Rangefinder rounding everything off. This thing is just range on a stick. That's basically all it is. And for hand cannons, this is really something that you should look out for. I would expect this weapon to become a major player in the Crucible. Now moving on, there's one last Crucible weapon that I would recommend taking a look at. It is the Event Horizon Sniper Rifle. Now I believe in this weapon. In fact, I believe in it so much, I actually bought one for myself. This weapon, I think it's very good because firstly, it's actually of the Black Spindle archetype. Before the Rise of Iron, there was like literally zero legendary sniper rifles that fit into that Black Spindle higher damaging sniper archetype. Therefore, with the recent sniper nerf in patch 2.4, making the 1000-yard stare archetype no longer able to kill off the high health supers, this archetype of snipers has gotten a lot better because these will cover you in every scenario. They're still able to get one-shot headshots on frankly anything in the Crucible. So not only is this weapon of a very good damage archetype, but it also has quite a good perk roll. Short gaze is pretty much one of the best sights you can ask for with a sniper rifle. Grenadier and spray and pray, both pretty good. Now small bore actually is great with this archetype because it won't actually decrease your magazine size. I tested this out for myself. It'll still remain a magazine of 3, so you're basically getting a free increase to range and stability with no downsides, other than a very small downgrade to reload speed. And lastly, it comes with hidden hand. Now the aim assist isn't the strongest point for this archetype of sniper rifles. This particular sniper rifle has an aim assist of 33, so nothing to write home about, and hidden hand will improve that. So in total, we have a sniper rifle that belongs to a very good damage archetype, now one of the better damage archetypes after patch 2.4, with a very good perk roll. Definitely something to consider, especially picking up this just even in the background, so that when you're facing people who are using those high damaging supers and you're not able to kill them with your longbow synthesis, you can switch to this and still have yourself covered. Wow, that was a very long and in-depth analysis of why the event horizon is good. And it's definitely not because I bought one, I'm trying to justify my decision. Anyways, moving on to the Crucible Quartermaster. There's really only one thing I would consider buying from the Crucible Quartermaster, and it is the Parthian Shot Pulse Rifle. Now, I'll admit right off the bat that I may be over-analyzing this pulse rifle, but this pulse rifle makes me very excited. This thing has a lot of potential in my eyes, and it's not necessarily because of the roll, but rather because of the damage archetype. As you can see, this is a high damaging pulse rifle. The only other legendary pulse rifle that you can infuse that belonged to this archetype was the Spare Change. And literally that's it. That's the end of the list. This archetype has seen very powerful pulse rifles. The original Year 1 Hopscotch Pilgrim was of this archetype. The Messenger Trials of Osiris pulse rifle, I'm sure some of you still have wake up in cold sweats because of that gun, but seriously, this archetype has had some heavy hitters in the past. But because the Spare Change was the only one in this archetype for Year 2, and the Spare Change really didn't have the best starting stability, which you absolutely need for this archetype of pulse rifle because you need to land your shots, the Parthian Shot, and especially with this roll, really piques my interest. Firstly, we have Rodeo to help with that recoil. Next, we have Perfect Balance to increase the stability even more. And frankly, the Parthian Shot with Perfect Balance has a better stability than even a God Roll Spare Change, so just consider that. And lastly, it has Headseeker, which is hugely important for this archetype. Again, you need to land all of your shots, you need kind of the stars to align in order to get those 2 burst kills, and Headseeker is really gonna make that easier. Now, regardless of whether or not you actually buy the Parthian Shot, I would definitely recommend keeping an eye out for getting these in loot packages and so on. The God Roll to this gun could be a force to be reckoned with in PvP. Now let's move on to the factions. Firstly, we have Dead Orbit. There's 2 weapons I would recommend checking out. The first one is the Extremophile Auto Rifle. Now firstly, this belongs to one of the better auto rifle archetypes. The medium rate of fire archetype recently received a buff in patch 2.4, so it's kind of effective right now, and it has pretty good base stats. The base stability is actually reasonably high, and it also comes with a decent perk roll, armor piercing rounds to increase the range, we have Perfect Balance to increase the stability even more, and Persistence to help with accuracy as you're firing this weapon. I wouldn't necessarily recommend this to everyone, but if you're into auto rifles and you like using them, definitely check it out. Now after that, we have the Worlds to Come 001 Fusion Rifle. This thing is actually pretty damn good. We have Enhanced Battery and Snapshot, both pretty decent perks with Fusion Rifle. Then we have Hammer Forged to increase the range. And the range with Hammer Forged and the relatively high impact is going to make this thing pretty damn good at one-shot kills. And we round things off with Hidden Hand, a good perk all around, very good for fusion rifles as well. You want to be able to whip these out even pre-charge, and you need to be accurate, you need to have a little bit of aim assist to help you do that. And next we're moving on to Future War Cult, and I've gotta say, Bungie, what were you thinking? Because they gave Future War Cult all of the best vendor weapons. Like, it's not even fair. Future War Cult blows out Dead Orbit and New Monarchy by a country mile in terms of vendor weapons. It's actually ridiculous. We're gonna go over every single Future War Cult weapon. Every single one. That's how good they are. It's frankly absurd. And we're going to start out here with the Wail hand cannon. Good sights all around. We have armor piercing rounds to give you a little bit more range. All of the ammo type perks after patch 2.4 now give you range bonuses, so they're definitely something to look out for when you're looking for a weapon that you want to increase the range with. That's coupled with Hammer Forged, even more increased to range, and if you're not interested in that, you can have Third Eye, which is also great all around. And lastly, we have Firefly. Firefly is good all around, especially good in PvE. So if you want a PvE focus hand cannon, the Wail may have you covered there, but it's definitely going to be good in the Crucible as well. Now moving on from there, our next step in the journey of Future War Cult dominance is the Waltz Pulse Rifle. This pulse rifle is again very interesting, not necessarily due to its perks, but rather its damage archetype. This pulse rifle actually is in the same damage archetype as the Grasp of Malik. I'm sure you guys know how good that thing is in PvP. Not many pulse rifles fit into this lower damaging category. Really powerful pulse rifle. Its high rate of fire make it very good in the Crucible. And the roll on this weapon is not too bad either. Armor piercing rounds again going to increase that range, perfect balance to help with stability, and lastly rangefinder, which is going to again increase that range. Not the best roll I've ever seen, but if you're having trouble getting a good grasp, this is a pretty damn good backup to that fact. And considering how many people I've seen do well in the Crucible with bad Grasp of Malik rolls, having a decent Waltz roll is definitely going to have you covered for a lot of scenarios. Now moving on, again in Future War Cult, we have the Waiting. Now this fusion rifle actually, I think, is insane. This is a really powerful fusion rifle. Firstly, we have accelerated coils. I love this perk. I think it's really good. And it's really good with this style of fusion rifle. This fusion rifle has absurd damage. It frankly can use a little bit of a damage decrease, and it's not going to lose that much one-hit kill potential, and you're going to gain a decent chunk of the charge rate, which is very good in the Crucible. Now, this is where things get insane, because basically after this, we have just even more insane perks. We have knee pads, great with fusion rifles, we have perfect balance, good overall, and we have rangefinder. Rangefinder plus the insane impact of this gun, this thing is going to cross map people on the Crucible even if you cut off a little bit of that damage with accelerated coils. Watch out for the rating, and if you like fusion rifles, I would definitely consider picking this up. Now, moving on to New Monarchy, just kidding, we're still on Future War Cult and we're going over the Wounded Scout Rifle. This thing has relatively good stats all around. It belongs to the 4-shot kill Boolean Gemini category of scout rifles in terms of damage archetype. Not the most amazing roll I've ever seen, but it does have high caliber rounds. Super useful when you're talking about scout rifles. Basically essential when you're talking about this archetype of scout rifles, because you need to win your long range engagements, and high caliber rounds is going to help immensely with that. Now, Outlaw is very good with scout rifles, especially because of the smaller magazines. Perfect balance if you want to increase the stability, and Zen movement to round things out. Solid roll overall, great for scout rifle users. Moving on, we have the Wormwood sidearm. This roll, I think, is really damn good. Firstly, high caliber rounds, extending the range a little bit, very good with sidearms, and helping you win those close range engagements by hopefully staggering your enemy enough that they maybe miss a headshot or two. Next, we have hand loaded, again increasing that range, great with sidearms. And lastly, we have hidden hand, which again is fantastic in those close range engagements. Often you're going to be low health when you're whipping out your sidearm, so having hidden hand is fantastic for that. Even the perks that I like are my second choice are still good. You have quick draw on this weapon, which is really good for sidearms. Again, all around, fantastic roll. If you like sidearms, definitely check this one out. And lastly, just in case you thought maybe the Future War Cult doesn't have a good weapon for sale, well, you're wrong, because we have the Warpath. This rocket launcher has a pretty darn good role. Firstly, you can put on linear compensator in order to increase the velocity. Yes, you're going to lose a chunk of blast radius, but you can make up for that with the heavy payload perk, which actually increases the blast radius. Snapshot and flared magwell are perfectly okay, and lastly, the reason I'm even showing this is because it has tracking. Tracking is definitely one of the best perks you can look out for on rocket launchers, and that's going to make this thing pretty darn good. It's kind of a really great emergency rocket launcher. If you need a heavy and you're wondering what to choose, you can go and get this. Have a tracking rocket launcher, which is pretty effective in the Crucible. And lastly, we're going to take a look at New Monarchy, the faction of trash rolls. Seriously, the rolls on New Monarchy vendor weapons are pretty much all terrible. I actually can't believe it. Now, the one thing I would recommend taking a look at is the Bad Council shotgun. Not for PvP. Again, repeat, not for PvP. This thing is trash for PvP. I'm not saying that. But it actually has a really good role for PvE shotgun players. If you like using a shotgun in PvE, this thing is actually pretty damn good for that. Extended magazine really helps. Already has a 5-round magazine, so that's going to go up to 6 or 7. Then you're going to have hammer forged, increasing the abysmal range by just a little bit more. But again, if you're using it in PvE, you're usually right up in people's faces. And lastly, full auto. Now, the combination of full auto plus extended magazine is no joke. Again, in PvE, being able to go up to a boss or go up to, a Reaver Captain or something like that and absolutely pump him full of lead, your damage output is really, really good. Your one-shot potential is crap, but your damage output over time is actually excellent. So guys, that's going to wrap up my choices for the best vendor weapons available for sale right now. Again, I would recommend checking all of these for yourselves and seeing what roles you like with your playstyles. In any event, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it informative. Now, if you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video, even if it's just telling a friend. Now, if you want to see more Destiny content from me, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. Now, if you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, and yes, dank memes, as I said in the beginning of the video, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickCacus. That's linked in the description down below, as is my Twitch channel, which you can also follow. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day. Future War Cult OP.